Hello friends, I am back and I don't know why. Welcome to my channel. My name is Carrie. We're going to be doing another little live reading experience. So far, while I've been doing these, I have read what I thought were popular young adult popular series. And this one that we're going to be reading is very much adult. So with Crave, that was absolutely young adult, hilarious, a parody of itself and every book of its kind. Zodiac Academy, the issue I had with it, again, like, I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum. People read and write tropes and things that I don't like for various reasons, okay? So I'm not going to say that books like that shouldn't exist. My issue with it was that I was so shocked by the way that it was talked about online. I thought for sure it was young adult. I think that the TikTok girlies and the booktube girlies, we've got a little bit of responsibility in sharing what a book really is and kind of trying to rate it and talk about it correctly, because I had no warning of what was in there. So for this book going in, I know that it is an adult fantasy. I know, can you see how nervous I am? I know that it is a fantasy romance. I know nothing about the plot really, except that I believe the romantic male character, I think I've seen it in like one or two reels or book talks or whatever, that he is like the darker version of Rhysand, who I already have my issues with. So I'm just like, I'm curious. Did I even say what we're reading? I'm going to be reading Guild, the Plated Prisoner series, which already I'm like, if you're brand new here, I'm not the biggest fan of smut, simply because there are some writers that can do it really well and I love it, but I'm like really picky with descriptive words and you can go really wrong really easily for me with smut scenes. So there's I can count on one hand the amount of times that like I felt like smut was done really well. So I'm gonna be probably cringing throughout this entire thing, but it's just me. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I thought this was a trilogy, but apparently there are 5 books already out and there's another book coming out in June. So I do know that this is an unfinished series. I don't know if it's like a trilogy and then the next 3 are something different. If you hear noises in the background, Kurt's playing video games. I hope he can't hear me because this is going to be an embarrassing video. But let me tell you what this book is about. Going into it, what I know is that it's about King Midas, who is the king that everything he touches turns to gold. And that's all we got. So let's read together, shall we? This is coming from Amazon, is where I'm reading. By the best-selling author Raven Kennedy comes the first book in a stunning new fantasy series, perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout. If you don't know, I hate From Blood and Ash so much. So we're off to a really good start. Ooh, my eyes, as always, skip to the bottom, and there is a content warning, and I love content warnings. Here we go. Italics. The Fae abandoned this world to us, and the ones with power rule. End of italics. Gold. Gold floors, gold walls, gold furniture, gold clothes. In Highbell, in the castle built in the frozen mountains, everything is made of gold. Even me. Now I'm picturing like C-3PO. King Midas rescued me, dug me out of the slums and placed me on a pedestal. I'm called his precious, his favored. I'm the woman he gold touched to show everyone that I belong to him. He gave me protection and I gave him my heart. And even though I don't leave the confines of the palace, I'm safe. Until war comes to the kingdom and a deal is struck. Suddenly, my trust is broken, my love is challenged, and I realize that everything I thought I knew about Midas might be wrong. Because these bars I'm kept in, no matter how gilded, are still just a cage. But the monsters on the other side might make me wish I'd never left. Bold. The Myth of King Midas reimagined. This compelling adult fantasy series is as addictive as it is unexpected. With romance, intrigue, and danger, the gilded world of Aurea will grip you from the first page. And here's the content warning. At the end it says, please note, this book contains explicit content and darker elements, including mature language, violence, and non-consensual sex. That's a good warning. It is not intended for anyone under 18 years of age. This is book 1 in a series. All I've got pictured in my mind now is C-3PO, and I'm also thinking of how much I want to reread Gilded Wolves. If you haven't read Gilded Wolves. But anyway, let's begin. How long is this book? Only 393 pages. It's on, all of them are on Kindle Unlimited. And what else was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to check the ratings for you guys. It is 3.7, but it has almost 83,000 reviews. And it came out in 2020. Okay, let's begin. What does the first sentence say, since it's supposed to grip me from the very first page? Let's read the first page. I lift the gold goblet to my lips as I watch the show of naked flesh through the space between my bars. Oh. Okay, well, it opens with an orgy, so that was unexpected. 7 bodies, working all to one solo release, and she has to watch. The king called me here a couple hours ago when he started getting hot and heavy with his revolving harem of concubines, also known as his royal saddles. He decided to have his pleasure in the atrium tonight, probably because of the acoustics in here. To his credit, the moans really do echo nicely. Well, I decided to start this, and I'm gonna see it through. I already had one video demonetized for being explicit or not good for advertisers or something, so I'm ready to take this loss. There's always the super thanks option if you'd like to fuel my strange experiments. Oh my god. Alright, here we go. Hi there, popping in right before we start. I get this question so much on my reading vlogs, and it is, what skincare do I use? I talk about it much more on my main channel, which I will always link down below, but I am actually doing a skincare sale with the company that I always use for my face products. It's a really big sale that's going on for this month, so if you want to check it out, it will all be in the description box, and I will have a video on my main channel coming out where I actually talk about the products, but you are here for books, not skin. So just in case anyone is like, drop the skincare routine, I did. So to the book. So this is literally page 2 after we got the bit of orgy. And I don't, so far, page 2, I actually don't mind the writing. I tried to forget that the first page just happened, but the imagery is that they live in this frozen snow world, and I don't mind this paragraph that I have read. So I'm putting away my judgment. On we go. Oh no, so she's one of them. Case in point, words that drive me insane. Why is he plunging? It's a greatest hits album. No, okay, literally top 10 least favorite. I'm on page 6. I was going to say a couple things. Also, yeah, there's video game noises in the background. I'm sorry. At first, I was thinking this is kind of clever how she's doing this, because she's doing a lot of description of the castle and stuff like that. And then every other paragraph, she'll do a 2-sentence little reminder that an orgy is going on. But now she's just fully explaining. And a couple things, number one, she's using every single word that I despise. She really likes plunges, juices. That's that one I really hate. But also there are just I'm trying to picture it, and it's one of those sex scenes where I literally don't know how this is physically possible, and there's a lot of people involved. So I could understand how she gets confused, but it's so explicit that it makes me giggle, and it's fine. But I'm on page 6. Ooh, I feel like that's a bad sign. But apparently she is very charmed by King Midas. She is absolutely his like sex slave. But she seems to like really love him. Not well, I don't know if she loves him, but she's very attracted to him and is charmed by him and thinks he's beautiful. And he gives her caterpillars in her stomach. It's not Midas's fault that you're in a cage that Midas keeps you in? What? Nope, nope, nope. Fuck this dude. 100%.
So there's a bird with her in the cage, and it also got turned into gold, and I read it incorrectly. She talks to it as if it's a friend, right? Its name is Coin, but I read it when I first read it. I thought it said Colin. So she's like, don't look at me like that, Colin. But its name is Coin, but I kind of want to call it Colin. And she has made it clear, so she's been here, she's been like this, in this state for 10 years. She was a victim of child trafficking, and then she eventually escaped that, but then raiders came or something. I don't know. Anyway, Midas saved her. And so she's made it very clear that like, even if she was out of this cage, she wouldn't run away. Like, she knows how good she has it, and she loves Midas. Like, it's trauma bonding, it's emotional abuse. And she always talks about how she's the bright side kind of girl. Like, she always thinks positive. Yippee. So, okay, we're only on page 19.
Oh, and there's the possibility that she could turn into like a full unmoving, like solid gold person. So that's kind of scary. And her cage actually is like the top floor of the palace. Doesn't super make it better. She still can't leave the palace or like the top floor, but she does have rooms. No, girl. There are ways he could do this that do not involve putting you in a cage. He can keep and protect you. He's the cage. Okay, very bizarre. She is like getting dressed for the day. It's a new day. And she explains that she has ribbons growing from her skin, from her shoulder blades to her tailbone. 24 long golden ribbons. And they were there before she got turned to gold. That was not Midas's doing. Ooh, and she can control them like she can control her own limbs. Usually I just let them drape behind me like supple fabric, but she can also move each one when she wants to, and they're stronger than they look. So she's like a golden octopus. Like, she uses her weird extra arms to braid her hair and get dressed. This is so strange. So one of the other kings from another kingdom is visiting, and he like wants to borrow Aren, I guess her name is. And Midas has obviously like never considered that before and usually kills people who ask that. But now he has something that he wants. And she's like, what the fuck? I think I know who the romantic lead is. So they're talking about they want to attack the fourth kingdom. And she's like, the fourth kingdom? Nobody attacks the fourth kingdom. King Ravenger is called King Rot for a reason. He's powerful and brutal and vicious. What the hell is Midas thinking? And I'm pretty sure in like the reels that I've seen about this, I think it's him. Oh no, do we have a T main character who she loves? And I think we're going to be introduced to an R character that turns out to be the one she really loves. Uh-oh. Okay, so then what we have happening is she has been traded. One night with her has been traded for this guy's armies, right? They're gonna take over the fourth kingdom. And so obviously that's not going to go down until his army like catches up with the other army or whatever. So she's just like sitting around waiting for this to happen. And then she's trying to help one of the other girls because somebody ordered her to dance and like forgot to tell her to stop. So she's been dancing for 3 hours and like looks like she's in pain. So she's like, if you just pretend to faint, like I'll back you up, you know? And the girls all hate her, so they're like, no, we don't want your help. So Aren is like, okay, well, I'll just make you pass out. And so she smacks this girl in the face with a golden book. Smushes her face in. What the heck? Oh, he has a wife? What? Yeah, truly fuck this guy.
Feminine fit? Ugh. Okay, though, how many times is she gonna say bright side in this book? I gotta look this up. Because it is used so much. 27 times? Only 27 times? It feels like so much more. Yeah, so when he rescued her when she was 15, they apparently like became friends, but when she is still 15 and he is 7 years older than her, so he's 22 years old. Alrighty, updates. Where did I leave off? I'm already on page 135. This is very quick to read. So the queen hates Aren, I'm gonna keep calling her, and had her guards beat her up, so that was not cool. And this is where we start to see Aren feeling really betrayed and realizing like she is just a commodity to be traded, and she doesn't like that anymore, so she kind of starts to push the boundaries as far as like disobeying commands and stuff, like altering her clothes, like little things. And then the night comes where this whole deal is gonna go down, and right before it happens, a messenger runs into the ballroom and is like, wait. And it turns out all of the Fifth Kingdom's soldiers were killed. And the king is like, how is that possible? How did Ravenger kill both the Fifth Kingdom and the Sixth Kingdom's armies? And the guard slash messenger is like, it was only your army, because Midas lied and didn't even send his army. He just wanted the Fifth Kingdom. So Midas betrayed him, and he's like, how could you do this to me? Let this be your last life lesson, Midas replies calmly. True kings, oh, this isn't a word that I use, but true kings don't give out their armies for sex, women, whatever. I don't like that word. So basically what Midas planned was that Fifth Kingdom sends their soldiers to the Fourth Kingdom, and they would never win that battle. And Midas sends his army to the Fifth Kingdom and takes over the Fifth Kingdom. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna kill the king. So yeah, he manages to kill King number 5 in the scuffle. I haven't mentioned him, but Aren has a guard named Digby who seems to be as nice as you can possibly be in the situation of guarding a sex slave. But he seems to be like respectful and just like a kind old man. And they have like a cute banter. Like I struggle to word this, but he's supposed to be like the one good person in her life so far. And he saved her in the scuffle. That's that. Alrighty, update. I am now on 233, so I'm 60% of the way through. What has happened? Now that we have killed King number 5, Midas is like, oh, the Fourth Kingdom did it. I'm going to valiantly take over the Fifth Kingdom, and like, you know, he lies, obviously, and he goes to the Fifth Kingdom to help set things up. Later, he calls for Aren to come, and we get maybe like 100 pages, I'm still not done with this, but of her traveling to the Fifth Kingdom. Things that we learn: number 1, her guards are kind of pushovers, so she is able to bargain her way out of like staying in the carriage so she can ride horses and like have a bit of freedom. Number 2, Midas's whole shtick is that he like made the Sixth Kingdom rich with his gold power. But as they're crossing the city, she realizes that there are slums. There are shanty houses or whatever. Like there are people starving in the kingdom. And she's like, but Midas has unlimited gold. And everyone's like, yep, I'm sure he's using it for other things. And she's just like, so there's that. She makes a friend, a guard named Sale, who respects women and respects sex workers, which is cool. She is like winning over all of the guards. They apparently like gossip, and everyone is kind of always rooting for her, like they like her. And she almost makes Digby smile at one point because she's always joking with him, and he's just like stone cold. I think Sale is going to be a spy, maybe. In the meantime, things that we're worried about. Number 1, there's a risk of an avalanche. And number two, the scout that they sent to like go check if the way is safe and you should come back and tell us should have been back a long time ago and he hasn't shown up. So the guards are uneasy. And so I was about to tell you, oh, the avalanche just started, but no, it's not an avalanche. Sail breathes beside me. Dread thickens like a pinching fog, gripping the breath from my lungs. Holy divine fuck, a guard curses. Snow pirates. What is happening? So they're chased by the snow pirates. Their carriage falls off a cliff. The snow pirates capture Sail and Aren, and Sail is like, I'm so sorry. I was supposed to protect you. And Aren is like, you don't deserve this either. You're the nicest person I've ever met. And I still think he's a spy, or maybe he's even the king. I don't know. I don't trust you, Sail. Sail? Sail, right? And now there are giant snow cats called Fireglaws that pull the ships of the snow pirates. We catch up with the rest of the people. Most of the guards have been killed. Sail is forced to kneel. He like gets beaten up and then he has to just kneel in like his underclothes. And he just never takes his eyes off of Aren because he's still protecting her. And I also forgot to mention that while they were going through the Sixth Kingdom, apparently the Fourth Kingdom has been sending rotting corpses as gifts to the border. So that was weird. But anyway, now we get to meet the captain of the snow pirates. They just killed Sail. But maybe he's not dead. Oh, oops, sorry. No, he's dead. Sorry. Aren uses her ribbons to somehow get Sail down. She didn't want his body to be disrespected anymore, so she threw him overboard, which I get, but it's just kind of funny imagery. And then they're forced to work in the kitchens, and then all of a sudden the ship gets attacked. This like commander gets on the ship, the male who stops at the front of the group, so tall that Captain Fane has to tip his head up to look. Isn't some result of King Ravisher's powers perverting his body? No. The man standing there, whose body basks in menace, is one thing and one thing only. Faye. Oh. So, there is a really horrific scene that I just read. But as Aren is trying to save one of the other girls, she runs at the captain, the main snow pirate, and turns him into gold. So she has the power too, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, the Fae guy is gonna take all of them in the morning. He like bought them all for the Fourth Kingdom. But like the captain was like, I have one last night to be evil, and he holy shit that was not a fun chapter to read. But yeah, she turned him into gold. Solid gold. Her ribbons start to glow and they have like a superhuman strength, and they throw the solid gold captain off the ship. And we've reached the end. The last chapter is in Midas's point of view, where he gets a letter that Aren has been taken and he's gonna destroy everyone in my path to get her back. That was incredibly quick to read. And that's that. The commander, the Fae Commander Rip is his name. He has lizard scales and spiky eyebrows. So there's that. On to Glint tomorrow. Okay? Bye. Hi everyone, it's a couple days later. I have given myself a break. I'm about to start reading the second book in this series, which is called Glint. It is 472 pages and we're getting different POVs in this one. The first POV is Queen Melina. Now that I've sat on it, some more thoughts about Guild. It was a boring book, so I think that the amount of action that happened in Guild, her being betrayed, there being a little plot twist, her running away and getting captured. I feel like that usually happens in like the first half of a first book, and then the story continues from there. So it just feels like this story is being spread out quite a bit, and it just wasn't, I think because of that, it wasn't that interesting. I just am not enjoying the female character because her only personality trait is like she's nice and she looks on the bright side. It isn't until literally the last pages when they got captured by the snow pirates, that's the only time that she shows personality that isn't just like, I'm nice and a little naive and I look on the bright side. Like it just felt like we waited a long time for very little amount of character growth. And then as far as what I feared, which was the smut, I feel like the first page was like just kind of throwing us into the deep end in terms of like there was an orgy. And then at the very end, there is a very violent and graphic assault. But in between that, I felt like it really wasn't any different from like an ACOTAR Court of Nightmares level of smut. Like I don't know. I mean, the fact that she's like part of a harem and she's like royal saddle number one, I was really like expecting something else, but it really wasn't what I expected. And I guess just the last thing is I didn't really believe / understand the whole jealousy and hatred thread that was going on in terms of like all the other royal saddles hate her or are jealous of her because she's like the favorite. But I just don't think that tracks really. I mean, she's literally in a cage. She's not allowed to like hang out. They talk about like how all the other saddles like hang out. They all live together. They're like buddies. I can understand the queen hating her, but in terms of like the other girls, I could see like maybe 1 or 2 of them being jealous, but like all of them, no one thought like, gee, maybe we're all in a shitty situation. I don't think I would, if I were just reading this for fun and not to tell you the plot, I don't know if I would have continued because it was just, there's nothing that's intriguing me at all. And that's it. So we're gonna dive into Glint. Let's get reading. Hi, checking in from literally the second page. So when I just literally seconds ago said that this book was boring, I do want to say that in terms of like the actual characters, I don't enjoy the writing, but I think that a lot of, once she like gets into her kind of just descriptive moments, I think she does a really good job. Like the way that if the first book started with Queen Melina's chapter of like chapter 1 of the second book, it reads so well, and I think this is where I almost feel like the story has a chance to be a lot deeper than it's been. When it kind of opened with the way that the first book opened, I felt like it kind of threw me off and I wasn't gonna give the book a chance really. But if it had started with this, how she's describing how everything has changed, she grew up in this castle, I think that it's really interesting, and I think that it makes his power such a metaphor for abusive men, like their charm and their power and how they can make everything look so shiny, but it's actually just like weighing people down and trapping them. And I think like this story has so much potential, and I just wonder why the choice was made to have it be about like a sex slave. I don't know, but I will say that the author Raven, she has these like good moments and then it just gets lost. But first 2 pages of the second book. Alrighty, so we're back with our girl Auren, and she's just catching us up on everything that happened in the last book. And we're getting this is my fault because I wanted to be free narrative. But look at the bright side. It begins. I hate this. Like, I understand why this always happens, but I just don't enjoy this in books where there is a person who has purposely constructed an image of being evil and feared, and then when a person is like, you're evil, I fear you, they're all like, oh, seems you know me and you aren't going to give me a chance, so I'm just going to let you keep believing that. Like, you did this, buddy. You made this image. You sold it too well. Don't complain. But anyway, he of course lets her run free in the camp.
And he's like, oh, the goldfinch likes her cage. What a shame. Yeah, and then she's like, you don't know me. And he's like, oh, everyone knows you, and judges her with the image that has been constructed of her. Why are people so moody? Judge people when you meet them in person. Anything else, you don't know them. All right?
So 2 of the soldiers, while they're waiting in line to get their porridge, start kind of like pushing her and being like, oh, we'd like some lessons about how to be a royal saddle and all this stuff. To which Commander Rip appears, who he is absolutely King Ravenger. Like, are we kidding? But he's like to his captain, like, hey, Osric, I heard these guys were asking about lessons. Why don't you go teach them one? They like go and get scolded, I assume. There's a nice soldier named Keg. And also we don't know where the other people are. Commander Rip also took all the other saddles and guards that were left on the boat, but like, where are they? She goes into her tent, takes a bath. Commander Rip walks in accidentally, sees her naked, and is like, yeet, and gets out. He sends in a doctor to help heal her, but she's like, I don't want anybody to touch me. Then Commander Rip comes back in because she's staying in his tent because he doesn't trust her. We also got a flashback to when she was like, she had been rescued by Midas and now they're like traveling through the kingdoms. So I guess they didn't, I assumed that they just came from the sixth kingdom. I think they're from somewhere else. But so they're like traveling around and they're staying in a camp and somebody attacks her because she's gold and like cuts off her hair and like steals all of her clothes for the gold. And Midas is always there, the only person she can trust. And then she wakes up. The reason why I started talking to the camera is because she wakes up to something stroking her face and it's her ribbons. So she can control her 24 ribbons that come out of her back, but they also have a mind of their own. Bizarre. This book is incredibly long because we just keep meeting new people and they have the longest conversations for kind of no reason. Like they're all just reminding her that like she's not as free as she thought she was or whatever. But it's like there's way too many of them and they're way too long. But anyway, they're all calling her. She's got like a million different nicknames now, but she's Gildylocks. Yuck. So she got sick. And so now we have this whole thing where we get to talk to the mender again, the doctor. We found out where the saddles are. We don't know where the guards are, but we visited the saddles and they still really fucking hate her. Risa, who was the one who got assaulted, is like, I'll keep your secret because she found out about the ribbons. I'll keep your secret if you give me gold. So there's that. But then the doctor is like, by the way, thanks for talking to the saddles. Like now a couple of them are letting me treat them because they were all like suspicious of him. And he's like, and good thing because one of them is like not at risk of a miscarriage anymore. Yay. And she's like, what? And one of the meanest saddles is pregnant and she's like, it's gotta be Midas's baby. And we get all this info about how he never wanted her to be on birth control because, you know, he wouldn't risk her getting sick from it because apparently it's a dangerous herb or whatever, but he always like demanded that the other people did. Anyway, so she's like having a mental breakdown because she hates that someone else is having his baby or something. Oh, rip. Like we just have this conversation over and over and over again and we're already 43% done with this book and there hasn't been any action at all. It's only been conversations where he's like, you are in a cage of your own making now, even though it's not a cage of her own making. We've read 200 pages and nothing has happened. Uh-oh. Rip is beautiful. Also, the fact that we keep calling him Rip, I love it. He's beautiful. He's got an otherworldly allure, an unmistakable magnetism. Oh no, don't worry, we're safe. Never mind. Oh, we get the like, say it.
she's Fae. Hence why she has fucking ribbons coming out of her back. Like, are we confused? It was explained in the last book that there is a fairy realm. It used to be connected, and then somebody broke off the connection, and that's why there's still a little bit of magic in the world, like what Midas has. But apparently some Fae, full Fae, are still walking among us, like Rip. Okay, so throughout this book, we've been getting random chapters in Melina's point of view, and they're all like, while the king is in the 5th kingdom, she is like slowly taking over the 6th kingdom, like undermining him, getting people on her side, etc. So I thought, great, girl power. Turns out she was the one who sent the pirates after them to get her for some reason and, you know, kill her, whatever, her. And then she gets a letter that actually the 4th army got them, and she's really excited because she assumes that, like, oh, she's definitely going to be killed. She's gone. She's finally gone. I won't ever have to lay eyes on her again. Victory is sweet. They're going to rip her to shreds. I say, my tone tinged with thrill. So maybe not girl power. So she found the king's, or Rip or whatever's, messenger birds, and so she sends a warning to Midas. And then we get this weird cryptic thing where Rip is like sitting at the fire and is like, I wasn't supposed to find you, whatever that means. Then he kisses her, and then he's like, by the way, I know that you sent him a message. What? That just came out of nowhere. Okay, I think since I last checked in, I'm 10% further than I was. And again, nothing has occurred, but they're kind of talking more, her and Rip. We find out that she was originally from the Fae world. This is the name of the Fae realm that got separated from Aurea, or whatever is the kind of mortal realm. She lived there, and then she moved to the 3rd kingdom and the 2nd kingdom, and then Midas found her. And they're both looking at each other with things swimming in their eyes, and oh, and I think we finally find out who King Rot is. Rot and Rip. I just can't. If she calls him Rot for the rest of the series, I'm out. I'm out. Alrighty, so they're about to meet Midas. And he's like, hey, by the way, you could stay if you want to. And Arn is like, no, I need to go be with Midas. It's gonna be different this time. The usual shtick. And he's getting very upset about this, Rip, and is like trying very hard to get her to stay. But she is choosing to wither.
Lizzie, who are you going to believe? This boy you are knowing your whole life? Or this boy you are just meeting who says, you shine with the light from the sun?
Okay, so they're doing the handoff. They're giving Aren to Midas or whatever. And like, see, I feel like she has these like moments where her writing is good, but then it's just like, it's hidden between scenes that do nothing. This really gives off the vibes of in Gone Girl when she goes to her like ex-boyfriend stalker's house and he's like, oh my goodness, we're gonna get you cleaned up and looking just as pretty as you used to look, kind of thing. That's 100% the vibe. He does say, oh, you know, I hope you're okay. Did anyone hurt you? Whatever. But then immediately he's like, let's get you looking good, girl. And Midas immediately tries to put her back in a cage that he made for her. And she's had it. Called that one, he's Rip, he's Rot. And Midas and him made some kind of deal where he wants a little piece of the 5th kingdom and he doesn't want any of Midas's gold. And Midas is like, okay, but we need time to draw up the peace treaty, so you have to stay here. So now they're all gonna live happily in the castle together. The 4th army, Rip, Rot, Midas, and Aren. She also accidentally turned a girl into solid gold. Oops. Oh no, but his real name is Slade? Okay, like I've said, this book is similar fashion to the first one. Could have been a part, like a couple chapters of the book. Like books 1 and 2 absolutely could have been one book in like 400 pages, but instead we got 2
400 page books, 400 and 500 page book. Could have been cut in half and made into one. The next book that I'm looking at, Gleam, is 674 pages. This initially was supposed to be a trilogy and she expanded it to 6 books. I don't know if she did that because, like, at what point in the writing process or the publishing process did she decide that? Because it seems like she's writing this at the speed in which it would take her 6 books to finish the story, you know? I'm still not interested at all. I will read the 3rd book for you guys, but because it's moving so slowly, I'm not feeling anything. Like, it's also not funny. Like, she gives us the chance to have these like funny, cute characters. Like Keg, the like cook, the army cook, is funny, and he has like 2 scenes of cute banter that like would have stood out, but they were drowned out with like 1,000 other scenes of meaningless conversation. And then we have another girl named Lou, who is supposed to be this female warrior that really kind of like hypes her up and inspires her and stuff like that. And they have this weird running joke where they like different soldiers steal the good barrel of wine from each other. Like, there's this potential to have good characters and good bonding, but because there's so much stuff that could have been edited out, those scenes don't hit hard. Like, I'm only remembering them because I'm actively trying to remember them and tell you about them. This needed to be edited down so much, but on we go. Another day. Not today. It is also that time of month, so I'm like hot and just volatile. That was Gild and Glint. On to Gleam. All right, friends, we embark on Gleam. Thinking back, I just want to give a little disclaimer here. I have been in kind of a reading slump for almost this entire month, and I think that I'm in like a certain mood, so I feel like I'm being a little bit hard on this series. It's not bad. Like, in terms of the writing, it's not as bad as so many other books that are popular right now. I understand why people like it. I'm just like at this point where I want to read a really good book, and I'm expecting these to be really good books, and they are not what I want. So I'm just being a little moody, but this book is 674 pages long. So there's a prologue in which she is not a bird in a cage, she's a bird on a branch. But yeah, so I'm gonna try and read this all day today. We're gonna do an accidental 24-hour reading challenge because it's that time of month and I don't want to leave my bed. Here we go. I think this is gonna be the best book out of the 3. I don't think I'll continue it. I'm just gonna give you my thoughts on the first half of this, but I have a feeling that this one might be where it gets juicy because, like I said, books 1 and 2 could have been one book and a lot shorter. Off we go. Okay, back again. This is going to be a theme. I'm just going to stop on page 2 every time to say she writes excellent first chapters and she writes excellent descriptions. Like, I feel like I'm in this harbor. She can write, okay? Like, let's just leave this video. If you come away with one thing, it's that I do believe that Raven is actually a good writer, which is great. But one thing I didn't think about was like, why did she leave the Fae realm? Is she running from something? And we learned that when she was taken by that like child trafficker, they were just sent to be on the street to beg and bring him back money. But now that she's old enough, she has been promoted to prostitution. And she's like, it happened once and she's like, no the fuck not, and tried to run, but of course she gets caught. I'm pretty sure this is where Midas comes in. Wait. She's already been golden. She's golden before she met Midas. And Midas in the previous book did say something about how like he keeps her around for her power. So like we're pretty sure that he just found a way to steal her power. Like the gold is 100% Aren's, but the fact that she's like walking around and she's gold, who did Midas have to like silence to keep that a secret? Because he didn't do it, I don't think. Oh, okay. She says that she's actually painted and people believe her, but so I see how Midas could have swung this, but still. Okay, we're back in the present
And Aren is finally fucking standing up for herself. She has a spine under all those ribbons. She basically calls Rip a liar because we're starting off the book right where we left off, where he is like, by the way, I'm the king. And she's like, what the fuck? Because she, in her mind, the king has still always been this evil person. And so she's like, you're a liar. And he is so shocked by this. He's like, excuse me? I'm a liar? He's like, oh, well, you can't call me a liar because you lied about being Fae. And she's like, yeah, because you're the first Fae I've ever seen in 20 years. It's not safe for me to be a Fae. Why would I tell you that? And she says, you force truths out of me while concealing yourself. You don't think that's hypocritical? And she calls him a self-centered ass. Careful, he says, baring his teeth with a wicked smile. There's a saying about rocks and glass houses. I don't live in glass. I live in gold. So I can throw whatever damn rocks I want. And he just figured out that Midas is claiming Aren's power as his own. And then he goes off about how mad he is about her going back to Midas. And she's like, how can you be mad at me when like you were deceiving me from the start? And he's like, but he was deceiving you. And she's like, yes. The utter emotion comes barreling with my scream, makes him stagger back. She says, I'm so damn tired of being deceived. And she's basically like, this is where the book should have ended. She should have been like, fuck all men, I'm going away. And she should have walked out, but we're only on page 18. But basically, yes, these men are treating her like shit. And I have a feeling she's going to be some kind of Fae royalty. It said that back home she had horses in stables. And I feel like if you have a horse, you're royal. And she says accidentally that she had to come back for Midas. And I feel like they made some kind of bond. Oh no. Not that word. I think that's how we're going to continue this. We've got to break whatever the hell deal they have. I want Aren to walk out of this series alone. I don't want any man on her arm. Okay, I was about to be like, ooh, I like this energy between them, but then he grabs one of her ribbons and it's purring and vibrating. This ribbon thing, like, can anyone tell me, is that actually a reference to something? Like, I don't know why she has ribbons and why they have a mind of their own. And ew, so this is a chapter from Midas's point of view. So I know that like this language is being used because we're supposed to know that he's pretty despicable, but like the amount of times that they have used bread or breeding to talk about like women and childbirth and pregnancy, I hate it. But yeah, he just found out about the girl who is pregnant and like she's far enough along that it definitely was like his child, and he's basically just like turn her out, like put her out on the street. And he also just got word that his wife is like kind of staging a coup, not wearing gold like she's supposed to. And they also all ran out of money because they didn't have Aren to make more gold coins. So
coming in here asking for my keys. You trifling. You need your own car. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, so why you...
Overall, things are going to shit for Midas. And we found out that his dad was drunk and his mom was absent. And that's not enough to make me feel any pity for him. But here we are. Yeah, he's a woman hater. As if we couldn't already tell, but oh no. So we've talked about this maybe before, but his wife, the queen, has been unable to get pregnant. And now I guess Midas is like, well, turns out it's not my fault, right? And I have a horrible feeling based on these last two sentences that we are going to have him try to have a baby with Aren in order to make it an heir somehow. I don't know, but I just hate books that are so surrounding pregnancies. And if this turns into one, I hope that Rip steals her away to safety and then Aren disappears into the night. That's how the only way I want this to end. Oh, I would like Sale to come back to life. I think he will. I'm very sure he will. We're gonna see Sale. Like, I can't with these ribbons. Rip
appears and her ribbon just starts like curling around his leg like a cat. And I don't understand. First mention of looking on the bright side in book 3. Ew, okay, 25% update. She has started, oh wait, I didn't tell you this. Midas let her out of her cage, technically lets her sleep in her own room, but then the first day that she's free, she decides to like walk all over. She has guards, but like walk all over the palace, and Midas gets really mad, and so now she has to stay locked in her room or like super guarded. She's basically like still in a cage. But then she concocts a plan to escape, and she finds out that in the royal library there are plans to the city and the castle, so she can like figure out how to escape. And then she goes to see the other saddles and talks to Risa, who she, remember, still has a deal with where she has to like give her gold in order for her silence. And she's like, listen, I want to do a new deal. I'll help you escape, because she's like, you want the gold so that you can buy your freedom, but Midas is never going to let you be free. So you need to escape. I'm going to help you escape, but also you need to take me with you. Like, we're going to escape together. So there's that. We also, while she was there looking for Risa, discovered that now Midas is giving his saddles this drug called dew, which like basically makes them horny all the time, I guess, and you can get really addicted. And I guess the other king, like they're in the 5th kingdom now, number 5 king would give dew to his saddles, and they are basically like not even human anymore. So Aaron is sort of like, maybe go easy on that stuff, but the saddles are like already kind of addicted to it. Anything else? Oh, and it seems like Midas sent a letter to the queen being like, you're going to claim that this baby is yours or else. And yeah. So Midas caught Aren sneaking out, and in order to keep her in her cage, he is like, by the way, I have Digby, that guard that she really liked, who we thought maybe died. He's been missing. And I don't want to have to punish him or like whatever. So you need to stay in your cage and you need to do everything that I say. So now she's like gilding the whole palace, right? She's making it all gold. And he's like, I might let you visit Digby if you keep doing what I say. And also, he may or may not have just made a guard go and assassinate the queen. I think the queen's in trouble because she basically replied to his letter and was like, I'm not taking your fucking baby. So, and her powers only work in the day. Her powers are so weird. Like, why can she only turn things gold in the day? Why does she have ribbons that have a mind of her own growing out of her back? She basically passes out because of using so much power. Rip is there to catch her. They have a cute little moment, but he's still basically like, you didn't choose me. Like, he didn't say that he loves her, but it was pretty clear. And he was like, but you still chose him. And then he like brings her to her room and helps her eat. And we're like actually getting good moments of them together talking. I still don't 100% feel the chemistry, but it's getting better. Uh-oh, she says his real name. Okay, so the queen is in a safe house. The king is saying that he assassinated the queen and like has moved his forces in and whatever. And then he attacks the queen's safe house and kills everyone, even Gio, who has just been trying his goddamn best. He's like been cooking and cleaning, and still the queen is just like, you're a good for nothing saddle. Like, you aren't worthy of even looking at me. And he gets killed. I don't understand the point of the queen. Like, I just don't understand the queen's role in this whole thing. Oh, okay, more updates. We're just getting a lot of smut now. This is where it's happening. And I feel like this book, like, if that's what you want, like if you're reading Guild because you wanted this like enemies to romance, very clearly smutty book. Did I say enemies to romance? Enemies to lovers. Did I say that? Anyway, this is delivering. Like, you're starting to, the characters are interacting well. Like, I would say like at the 50% mark, but
it's just a bummer that you have to read the first book, which wasn't good, the second book, which really wasn't that good, and then kind of 50% of the third book, which really wasn't that good, to get the stuff that I thought we were going to have. So that's a bummer. But anyway, because Midas has told everyone that he killed the queen, now he is going to get engaged to the queen from the third kingdom, who I thought was going to be a nice lady. Turns out she's not. And so they're going to announce their engagement at the ball. And Queen Kyla has basically said that she is going to kill, she didn't outright say it, but like she's probably going to kill the saddle that is pregnant because she doesn't want Midas to have any other babies other than with her, because that would be a threat to, you know, her throne. And she might kill Aaron as well. I don't know. And we're going to try and find Digby. So we have to save Mist. We have to save Digby. We have to get Risa to freedom. Is that it? Okay. Midas actually does take her to see Digby, and he is like barely looks human because he's been tortured so much. But of course it's Aaron's fault. He warned her. Ew. And then Midas drugged her. What the hell? So he was obviously like, because she was drugged, he was going to attack her, but she was strong enough that her ribbons like threw him against a wall. So he takes a sword and cuts off her ribbons. So he just keeps on drugging her until finally she like somehow snaps out of it. She remembers everything. Of course she doesn't listen when Midas tells her to like do her gold thingy. She's like, no. Fuck you, man. Oh shit, that's a twist I didn't see because I didn't even mention it to you. In one of the flashbacks with when she is being forced into prostitution in her past, there was another guy, so her traitor was like Zalik or something, and he was like, listen, you got to stay with me because at least I'm kind of nice to you. There's this other guy named Barden East who is trying to buy you. It was Midas. Midas was Barden East, and then he like, because he had Aren eventually, he could become king because he bought his way up the ladder, you know? I figured that the whole him saving her from the raiders thing was set up, which it was, but I just didn't think that he would be Barden East. I thought that that was just a random man. Oh my god, so all this time, like obviously when Rip is in his King Ravenger look, he still has to have his commander next to him, so there's a fake Rip, and I just thought that he like used one of his guards who are called Wraths. I thought he just used one of them, but apparently it's his brother. Also, I haven't even mentioned him because he has not been involved at all in this story, but the King number 5 had a son who's too young to take over the throne. So Midas has been trying to figure out how to kill him this whole time, and he just got poisoned. So. And then Midas is like, well, fine, you can fucking go, Aren. And then when she is like, okay, I will go, he's like, wait, and then tries to kill her. Oh, damn. And so she basically calls to her magic, and because she has like everything covered in her gold, she just calls it back and uses it to fight back at our boy. Oh shit. I think Midas is dead. She just turned him gold.
Sing to me, Paolo.
Oh god, but her magic is like too much and she's draining herself and she's gonna die, and she just like can't stop using it because she's never used it like this before. So Rip is like, the only thing I can do is to use his power, which is like rotting things. And if he can like rot you for a little bit and you can come back to life, so don't worry. But he basically like kills her, makes her rot from the inside so that her magic stops working and she passes out, obviously. But let's see if that worked. Oh, it's an epilogue. Oh, that was a nice way to end the book. All right, let me read it. It's in Rip's point of view. Okay, so it ends, basically the epilogue is like that whole scene all over again of her killing Midas, but he like picks her up once her magic has let go and she passes out, and they just start running. He's basically like, Midas might be dead, but Queen Kyla is still alive. She just saw, her and her whole court just saw that Aren actually has the gold power. So they're obviously gonna come after her, and I'll be fucking ready. So I will admit, now I'm kind of into the story. I don't know why she started the story so slowly. If this had been book 2, this would have been really good. But why is it book 3? I don't know. Like, if I hadn't been doing this, I don't know if I would have even pushed through book 1. And even if I was someone who read it because they like smut, which I don't know if I would have pushed through book 2, you know? So she's asking us to read a lot of what I thought was quite boring, and I didn't think that the characters had any flavor to them at all until the middle of the 3rd book. Like, she's just asking a lot of her audience to like hold on until it gets good. I just don't know why that happened. Again, I'm curious, when in the writing process did she change it from a trilogy to 6 books, because it feels like she just kind of stretched it out. But anyway, so this ended differently than I thought it would. I really thought that I was just gonna say, meh, boring, don't want to continue. But now I'm kind of interested in how it ends. I'm going to end this video here because it's already an hour long. And I don't think I have time for kind of the rest of the month to finish this series, but it's one that I'd be willing to go back to. Even though the smut is pretty bad, it's like concentrated in like just the scenes. It's not like this weird pervasive thing like A Court of Silver Flames. I'm actually like not mad at this. I didn't love it. It delivered exactly what it was sold as. It just took a really long time to get there. Anyway, let me know your thoughts if you've continued it. I think the 5th or the 6th book is coming out really soon. Yeah, this was an interesting experiment. I'm feeling a lot better. I've been well distracted. I will catch you guys next time. Okay, so thank you for joining me, and I will have a link to that skincare thing in my description box. Okay, bye.